Have you ever had one of those quiet moments when you look around your home, your partner, maybe in the next room, the TV humming softly, and you suddenly wonder, am I really okay? Am we okay? It's not always easy to admit, but being a man often means we carry a lot without ever saying a word. We push through stress, ignore our aches, and pretend things are fine, even when they're not, especially in our marriage. But here's the truth. Taking care of your own well-being isn't selfish. In fact, it's one of the most important things you can do to create a strong, lasting, and loving relationship. Because when you're feeling good physically, mentally, emotionally, you become a better partner, a better listener, and a more present man. In today's video, we're going to talk openly about what really matters for your health and your marriage, especially after 40. These aren't just tips, they're small, powerful shifts that can improve your life in ways you may not have expected. And no, I'm not going to ask you to become a different person or pretend to like yoga unless you already do. And then hey, good for you. This is about realistic, grounded change. Let's start with something we all know, but often forget. Your physical health is the foundation of everything else. When your body is tired, heavy, or in pain, it impacts your mood, your patience, and even your interest in connecting with your spouse. You might not even notice it at first, you just feel a bit more irritable, less affectionate, or simply not in the mood. But over time, this builds a quiet wall between you and your partner. Now, think about this. How often do you fuel your body the right way? I'm not talking about strict diets or cutting out everything you enjoy. I mean simple, everyday choices. Like swapping out the sugary cereals for a breakfast that gives you real energy, think eggs, oats, nuts. Or cutting back just a little on that evening alcohol that disrupts your sleep and leaves you groggy the next day. Because when you're well rested and nourished, your patience increases. You're less likely to snap over the little things. You're more present when your partner is talking. You're more in tune. And believe me, that matters more than flowers or grand romantic gestures. But physical wellness is only part of it. Let's talk about emotional resilience, something many of us weren't really taught. As men, we're often told to man up, deal with it, or just push through. But emotions don't disappear just because we ignore them. They simmer. They show up in our tone, our body language, our distance. Maybe you've noticed this. You start feeling misunderstood or unappreciated. You begin holding little grudges. Conversations get shorter. Silence becomes the norm. And that connection with your partner, the one that used to feel so alive, starts to fade. This is where vulnerability becomes a strength. Opening up, even a little, can change the entire dynamic of your relationship. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Just saying something like, I've been feeling really stressed about work lately. Or, I miss the way we used to laugh together, can start a conversation that brings you closer rather than further apart. It might feel awkward at first, but that discomfort is growth in action. And your partner, they probably want to connect with you just as much, but they might be waiting for you to open that door. So far, we've touched on physical well-being and emotional awareness, but there's one more piece many men overlook. Purpose. You see, after a certain age, once the kids are grown, or work starts to feel routine, a quiet question creeps in: what now? And without a sense of purpose, that question turns into frustration, restlessness, or even sadness. But here's the good news: purpose doesn't have to be some big, dramatic reinvention. It could be mentoring a younger man, taking on a creative project, building something with your hands, even recommitting to your marriage with a fresh sense of curiosity, asking, who is this person I married, really, and how can I love her better today than I did yesterday? When a man feels purposeful, he brings energy into the relationship. He's no longer just there, he's fully alive. And that spark can reignite even the most distant marriage. Asterisk, Now let's talk about something that many men overlook until it starts to affect their day-to-day life: emotional well-being. You see, as we grow older, it's easy to focus on physical aches and pains, but the emotional side of health, that often gets tucked away, pushed down, or simply ignored. But the truth is, emotional well-being plays a massive role in both personal health and the strength of a marriage. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you felt irritated or distant? Not because of something your partner did, but because of stress, loneliness, or even unresolved issues from your past. These feelings don't just go away. They build up slowly, like a pressure cooker. Without an outlet or understanding, they can turn into frustration, arguments, or emotional distance from the person you love the most. Now here's the good news. You can do something about it. One of the most powerful, yet underrated habits, is simply talking. Not shouting, not blaming. Just open, honest conversation about how you feel, what you need, and even what scares you. It's okay to say, "I'm feeling a bit down lately," or "I miss the way we used to talk more." Vulnerability isn't weakness, my friend, it's courage. And it's a bridge back to intimacy and connection. Many men, especially those over 60, were raised in a time where you were taught to tough it out and be the rock. But being the rock doesn't mean being silent. It means having the strength to be real, especially with the one person who's shared decades of life with you. Believe me, your spouse wants to know what's going on in your heart. She's not looking for perfection, she's looking for connection. And speaking of connection, let's dive into something equally powerful: appreciation. When was the last time you genuinely told your spouse how much you appreciate her? Not just a quick thanks when she hands you your tea. I mean looking her in the eyes and saying, "You make my life better. Thank you for being here." You see, appreciation is like water to a plant. It nurtures, it grows trust, and over time, it can soften even the hardest walls. No matter how long you've been married, 5 years or 50 more, heartfelt acts of appreciation can spark moments of joy and closeness you didn't even know you were missing. Sometimes, the key to feeling better, to sleeping better, even to having more energy, is not just a new vitamin or a fitness routine. It's how connected you feel. When your emotional tank is full, everything else, your mood, your motivation, even your physical health improves. Now let's talk about another area that often gets pushed to the back burner: purpose, retirement, changes in family life, even the slowing pace of daily routines can leave a man wondering, what now? That sense of purpose you once had through work, raising children, building a home, it might feel a little faded. But here's the truth: your life still matters. Your wisdom is still needed. Whether it's mentoring your grandchildren, helping in your community, or simply being more present in your relationship, your presence has power. And when you step into that space of purpose, again even in small ways, it lights a fire inside. It boosts confidence. And yes, it strengthens your marriage too, because purpose makes you more alive, more engaged, more you. And one more thing that often goes unspoken: physical affection. I'm not just talking about intimacy in the bedroom. I mean the little touches, the holding of hands during a walk, the hug before bed, the kiss on the forehead for no reason. These aren't small gestures. They are glue. They're reminders that love isn't just a word, it's an action. Repeated every day. Physical affection lowers stress, improves heart health, and releases hormones that make you feel happier. And guess what? Your partner needs that too. After 60, sometimes life gets quieter, routines settle, and those little gestures fade away. But bringing them back consciously, daily, can bring back so much warmth and security. All these factors, emotional honesty, appreciation, purpose, physical affection, they're not just good for your marriage, they're good for you. They Bring out the best version of you. The version that smiles more. The version that sleeps better. The version that wakes up feeling like he's not just going through the motions, but truly living. And isn't that what we all want, especially in this beautiful chapter of life? More meaning, more love, more connection. Because when your emotional and relational well-being are strong, everything else starts to shift in a positive direction, from your mood and energy to how you walk, talk, and show up for the people you love. Let's talk about something that often gets dismissed, but it might be the very thing your body and your marriage are craving. That's routine. Now, you might think, routine. I already have one. I wake up, have my tea, read the paper, ... But what I mean is a purposeful routine, one that supports not just your body, but your mind and your relationship. See, after 60, our energy naturally slows. It's not a bad thing, it's just nature. But without a steady, balanced rhythm to our day, it's easy to drift. And when we drift, we lose track of the things that keep us strong mentally, emotionally, physically. We might stop going on those evening walks. Stop laughing with our spouse over silly things. Even stop caring about how we're showing up each day. And that slowly chips away at your well-being and your connection with your partner. That's why creating a simple routine that includes time for movement, meaningful interaction, and a little self-care isn't just a good idea, it's essential. It's not about becoming a strict planner or scheduling every minute. It's about protecting time for the things that keep your heart beating strong, both literally and emotionally. Start with just one thing: a daily walk with your spouse. No phones, no distractions, just the two of you. Let the fresh air clear your head, let the rhythm of your steps bring you into sync. Sometimes, the quietest moments create the loudest impact in a relationship. And while we're here, let's talk about one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for well-being: laughter. When was the last time you had a good laugh? Not just a chuckle, but a full, belly-shaking, eyes-watering laugh. You'd be surprised how much tension melts away with one good laugh. And when you laugh together with your spouse, it's like medicine for the soul of your marriage. Too many couples, after decades together, forget to have fun. But here's the secret: fun isn't just for the young. In fact, after 60, it's more important than ever. Watch a comedy together. Dance in the kitchen to an old song, play cards, and make silly bets. These small, joyful moments keep your bond alive. They tell your spouse, "I still see you, I still love being with you." Now, I want to touch on something personal. Health, and not just your spouse's health, your health. Because here's the truth, my friend. You can't pour into your marriage if your own cup is empty. That means paying attention to what you eat, how you sleep, whether you're moving your body every day, even just stretching or light exercise. And if something's bothering you, like persistent aches, changes in mood, or low energy, don't ignore it. Don't chalk it up to just old age. Talk to your doctor, talk to your partner. Taking care of your health is an act of love, not just for you, but for the person who wants you around, strong and smiling for years to come. That brings me to an important point. How you show up in your relationship matters. You've likely spent years being the provider, the fixer, the strong one. But in this stage of life, showing up might look different. It might mean being emotionally available, listening without fixing, offering encouragement instead of instruction. Sometimes, the strongest thing a man can do is simply be present. Not distracted, not buried in a phone, or lost in worry, just fully there. Because presence is a gift. A quiet, steady, loving presence tells your spouse, you still matter. We still matter. And don't forget the power of intimacy. Physical closeness may evolve over time, but it never stops being important. It doesn't have to be grand gestures or dramatic romance. Sometimes, it's holding her hand while watching the news, giving a gentle kiss before sleep, resting your hand on her back during a walk. These touches might seem small, but they're messages. Messages that say, I'm still here, I still choose you. And those messages are what build a relationship that not only lasts, but thrives even after 60. So if you're sitting there wondering, can I really improve my marriage and my health at this stage in life? The answer is yes. 1,000 times, yes. It doesn't require huge changes. Just small, consistent actions. A bit more kindness. A little more patience. A lot more presence. Marriage isn't about being perfect. It's about staying committed. Committed to growing, to learning, to caring. Even when things are quiet. Even when days feel routine. That quiet commitment. That's love in its most mature and beautiful form. And you, my friend, are still capable of deep love, great health, and a life filled with connection and purpose. Don't let anyone tell you it's too late. Don't let yourself believe you're past your prime, because your story isn't over. It's just moving into a chapter rich with wisdom, peace, and real joy. Asterisk, let's shift the focus now to something. Many of us were never taught, growing up, how to communicate. Not just talk. Communicate in a way that brings understanding, peace, and connection, especially in your marriage. Because if there's one thing that can quietly erode even the strongest relationship, it's silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind where you stop expressing your thoughts, your worries, or even your appreciation. You know how it goes. You've lived with someone for decades, and it's easy to assume they know how you feel. But here's the truth. Even after 40 years together, your spouse still wants to hear you say, I love you. Still wants to hear, thank you for dinner. Still wants to hear that you notice when she gets a haircut or does something kind for you. And on the flip side, you also need to feel heard. You deserve that space too. The strongest marriages in this stage of life aren't the ones where people never fight. They're the ones where both people feel safe enough to be honest. Where you can say, I'm scared, or I'm feeling lonely, without judgment. That kind of emotional safety is like oxygen for a relationship. And it starts with small, honest conversations. So, start today. Say something kind, say something real. Even if it feels awkward at first, you'll be amazed at how your partner responds when you open up just a little more than usual. That little bit of vulnerability, it invites closeness. Now, let's take a moment to talk about something personal: purpose. At this point in life, many men start to feel like their sense of usefulness fades. Maybe you've retired. Maybe your kids are grown and busy with their own lives. Maybe your days feel quieter than before, and that can leave a man wondering, what's my role now? Let me tell you this, your role hasn't ended. It's just evolved. Now, your wisdom is your gift. Your calm presence is your gift. The patience you've developed, the lessons you've learned through years of wins and losses, that's gold. And you can still give so much, whether it's through mentoring a younger person, volunteering in your community, or simply being a solid, loving anchor in your family. Purpose doesn't need a paycheck. It doesn't need a title. Purpose can be found in the way you speak to your spouse over breakfast, in how you support a friend who's going through a rough time, in how you show your grandkids what integrity looks like. You are not done contributing. You are just contributing in a new, deeper way. And let's not forget, part of well-being, especially now, is learning how to let go. Let go of old grudges. Let go of regrets that no longer serve you. So many men carry silent burdens from the past, things they wish they'd said or done differently. But holding on to that weight only hardens the heart. It keeps you stuck. Forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, is powerful medicine. If you want to feel lighter, more connected to your partner, more at peace in your body, start here. Say to yourself, I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. And if you need to, say the same to your partner. Letting go isn't weakness, it's freedom. Now, let's bring it back to something incredibly simple, but often overlooked. The power of presence. When you sit with your spouse, put down the phone. Look her in the eyes, listen not to reply, but to understand. Ask her about her day. Share something about yours. Laugh together over a shared memory. Cry if something's heavy on your heart. These moments don't cost a thing, but they're priceless. Too many people think that the later years of marriage are about coasting. But that's a lie. This stage of life is about deepening. Deepening your bond. Deepening your peace. Deepening your appreciation for the one who's walked beside you all these years. And yes, challenges will still come. Health concerns, family issues, the unpredictability of life. They don't stop just because you've reached a certain age. But now, you face them with more grace. With a partner who's seen your best and worst, and still chooses you. That's something sacred, so honor that. Nourish that bond, the same way you care for your body. With patience, attention, and love. Because at the end of the day, it's not about big grand gestures, it's about being consistent, being kind, being real. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present, and every time you choose to show up that way for yourself and for your partner, you're not only strengthening your marriage, you're strengthening yourself. You know, when we think about legacy, we often picture big things like building a business, raising a family, or leaving behind a home. But the truth is, the most powerful legacy a man can leave is emotional. It's how you made people feel. When they were with you, did you make them feel safe, valued, seen? That's the kind of legacy that lasts. And in marriage, that emotional imprint becomes everything. After the kids are grown, and the house is quiet, after retirement parties are over, and the routines settle in, what remains is how you've loved each other through it all. That's why taking care of your emotional health matters just as much as your physical health, maybe even more. Because when your heart is open, your words are kind, your presence is calm. Your partner feels that, and you feel it too. It becomes a feedback loop of peace and connection. So here's the real truth that many men never hear. Your softness is your strength. That gentleness you bring when your wife is worried. That patience you've developed through decades of life. That steady voice you use when the world feels uncertain. That is power. Not loud, not flashy, but deeply needed. Especially now. And don't forget to care for yourself the way you care for others. So many men are taught to ignore their needs, to tough things out, to always put others first. But you can't pour from an empty cup. Take time to rest. Move your body. Eat with intention. Laugh often. And don't be afraid to say, I need a break, or I could use a little help today. Asking for support isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The same goes for intimacy. Real intimacy. Not just the physical kind, but the emotional closeness that comes from truly being known. From sitting beside someone without saying a word, yet feeling more connected than ever. From holding a hand that's grown older, but still fits perfectly in yours. From remembering why you chose each other in the first place. These moments are your riches now. They are the reward for showing up, for working through the hard parts, for loving through the storms, and they're worth protecting. So, if your marriage feels stuck, don't panic. Don't assume it's too late. With small changes, small gestures, small conversations, small choices, you can reignite a connection that feels brand new. Even after all these years. Because the truth is, strong marriages aren't made in one grand act. They're built one ordinary day at a time. Over a cup of tea. During a slow walk. in the way you listen, speak, and show up even when it's hard. And that applies to your overall well-being too. You don't need to become a different person. You just need to return to the best parts of who you already are. The man who cares deeply. The man who keeps showing up. The man who knows that aging isn't about fading, it's about refining, sharpening what matters, letting go of what doesn't. So as we wrap this up, here's what I want you to remember. You are still powerful, still needed, still capable of deep love and deep joy. Your health, your marriage, your peace of mind, they're not behind you. They are here, and they are worth investing in every single day. Start small, say the kind word, eat the nourishing meal, take the walk, hug a little longer. Speak from your heart. You'll be amazed how these little things add up to a life that feels full and rich. And if this video has reminded you of something you've been missing or something you're ready to work on, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend. Leave a comment below about your journey. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, because we're here to grow stronger together, body, mind, and heart. Here's to honoring your years, cherishing your partner, and living with purpose and peace. Take care of yourself, and take care of the love that's been walking beside you all this time. Here's to living your best life, at any age.